Hi, my name is Umar Akhter and I'm the CEO of Koskii. Koskii has a legacy of 100 years. It first started when my great-grandfather in the early 1900s would go into santes and sell in the santes. So the first actual physical store was set up in 1914 in Madikeri. My stint with the business started when I was 17, when my dad pulled me into business and I was just in my 11th grade. And I spent 7 years running a store along with my dad. And that was a great learning experience for me. So in 2009, the first Koskii store was set up in Bangalore, in Shivaji Nagar. And I had just a 700 square feet store. I had to think about how do I get most revenue out of a very small store? So I decided to sell only expensive stuff. And the second concept was I needed to break the myth of you need to sit in the store to run it. So I set up this store when I was living in the US. I hired a team here in India. I set up the operation procedures. We were this small little business with one store and we are trying to fight the biggies of the world. This was around the time when multinationals had started coming into India. Future Group was expanding itself and a lot of different companies. Soch was out there, your Nero's was out there, and there were a lot of other brands that were already established, occupied. And then we were wondering how do we set ourselves apart? And one of the interesting things that we noted is that when a customer walked into our store, they generally did not ask us, "Mujhe sari chahiye," ya "Mujhe salwar chahiye," ya "Mujhe ghagra chahiye." What they were taught, the language they were talking to us was, "Meri shadi ho rahi hai, mujhe haldi ke liye kuch chahiye. I want something for my mehndi or I want something for my sangeet." And it gave us an interesting thought process that people are really not buying a product. They are shopping for an occasion. So we started switching around the thought process to say, let us start curating products for occasions. So that's how we came up with this whole idea of, focus on the occasion and not the product. And that's why our tagline also says, wear an occasion. My dream was to create a chain of retail stores. So we started looking out for the next steps of where do we set up the next stores. So very naturally in 2011, we set up the second store on Kamraj Road. And very soon in 2013, we set up the third store in Chickpet. And in 2014, we set up the fourth store in Commercial Street again. And I was still working in IT full time. The business was doing reasonably well and we were growing reasonably well. We had a growth of 40% year on year. But when I asked around people, if you want to buy a bridal lehenga, who do you think of? There was no name that came to the top of your mind. And there was a huge market opportunity out there. The market size, when I reviewed, it was more than 35,000 crores. We decided to refine a positioning a little bit more with a very focused occasion wear approach. So I quit my job, came into the business full time, and we started looking at growth opportunities. Our target audience was the millennial girl in her 18 to 25. She's out there and she's going to get married anytime soon. And then we launched our next store in the Phoenix Market City. And then we launched the seventh store in Mantri Mall. Very recently, we launched Koskii Tower, which was a deviation from the 2,000 square feet format, and we created a 15,000 square feet format experience. We've been extremely successful with the new 15,000 square feet format. And as a strategy of moving forward, a plan is in 2019, we want to get out to 2 more cities. At the moment, we have shortlisted Hyderabad and Chennai to be the next 2 cities where we want to go to. So we will launch these cities with at least 1 Koskii Tower each, followed by a few additional 2,000 square feet stores. So we would be about maybe another 6 to 8 stores by the end of, an additional 6 to 8 stores by the end of 2019 and covering 2 cities. And in 2020, we plan to take up about 5 to 6 additional cities as we expand across the country. We have very recently launched our e-commerce business where we have moved our products to the online stores. So we are starting to become an omni-channel platform that will serve both offline and online. Having said that, with our online business, while we are catering to the Indian audience, we are also starting to look at crossing the borders and shipping across different parts of the world. One of the things that I've learned from my corporate experience is the only way to get to scale, to be able to give the best to build the best product and give the best service to a customer is to have the best people. And that's what I've learned in 20 years of my corporate life, and that's the philosophy that I carry to the business that I have now taken on full time. So number one, get the best people. Number two, empower the people. Number three, create an environment that is very safe to fail, so that you kind of generate a culture of innovation within the organization. So when you have these three blocks in place, you will automatically see that you have new ideas that are coming to the team. The vision that we have as a brand is that when anybody thinks occasion, whether it is a wedding or the various functions within the wedding, like your haldi, your mehndi, your sangeet, your reception, your cocktail party, whatever those are, or whether it is a festival like your Diwali, Holi, Eid, where people are willing and wanting to wear Indian ethnic wear, the top of the mind, the first brand that comes to name should be Koskii.